Jordan Peele is one of the most interesting working directors today. Whether you love or hate his films, they're always worth talking about. So today we're going to stop and rank all 3 Jordan Peele films from the worst to the best. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of the Jordan Peele films. With that said, this video is brought to you by Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. When I'm not talking movies too much, I'm actually really into fitness. In fact, these red lights behind me are sitting on weight plates. And the other half of fitness is what you eat. Factor makes it so much easier for me to achieve my daily goals through purposeful eating. Head to go.factor75.com/SeanChandler120 and use promo code SeanChandler120 to get $120 off your order. Factor offers keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, and vegan plus veggie options, which include seafood, meat, and plant-based meals. Here's the great thing about Factor for me. I've got 3 kids and a YouTube channel keeping me busy. I don't have time to prep a bunch of meals and clean up afterwards. Factor comes pre-prepared and ready to eat in minutes. I went with the keto plan because I'm a high protein, low carb kind of guy, but it was great for me because it added variety into my diet. A couple months back, I worked with HelloFresh. Factor is now owned by HelloFresh, and now my listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount with me. If you're interested in getting fresh, delicious meals delivered right to your home that meet your nutritional goals, head to go.factor75.com/SeanChandler120 and use promo code SeanChandler120 to save $120. And let's get started. In last place is Us, and this movie is so frustrating for me because it's great all the way until the point where it's not, in which case the whole film falls apart at that point in time for me. What I mean by that is that when it's like a home invasion story, it kicks off with this great premise of what if people that looked just like you showed up at your home to invade it. It's a very creepy, disturbing image, executed with excellence. The performances in the 2 different versions of all the cast members are great. It's appropriately creepy. In particular, Lupita Nyong'o just does this insanely good performance in this film as the mother trying to protect her family, desperately trying to survive, as well as the invader who is so creepy and unsettling on every single level. But so are all the other members of the family. There's a series of great little memorable sequences that each one of the members of the family has to go through that gets you on the edge of your seat, freaked out by this odd situation where you don't know what's going to happen, but all you do know is that the members of the family are in very big danger in each situation. It manages to toe that line of being frightening and tense, but also funny and amusing without the comedy undercutting the appropriate tension. Both are able to exist in just the right proportions, and all throughout the film, even when it's not as tense, Jordan Peele's able to put a little humor in there that feels organic, feels natural, largely because you like the characters, you like the family dynamic, and they organically are funny, in particular Winston Duke, who is phenomenal in this film, just like everyone else in this film. So a huge chunk of this movie I just thought was great. And then you move into the 3rd act where it starts giving answers, explaining things, and its message becomes clear. I just felt at that point in time, the whole movie just fell apart under the weight of its own ambitions, where it's trying to make this big, gigantic statement and be thematically rich and use this whole tale as an allegory and metaphor. And I didn't think there was any plot coherence, any logic to it of how there could be this many clones underneath America and how they're being fed, where they're getting all these scissors, where they're getting all this red cloth, the mechanics of them being tethered and repeating the actions of other people, Why were the clones created in the first place? Like, I just don't think any of it made any logical sense. And it's there for the sake of the messaging and the thematic richness. But I don't think the allegory works, the metaphors work if you have to force them. If you have to abandon logic to create a metaphor and create the situation, to me, that's not a good metaphor. If you have to force it, if you have to break the rules, if you have to defy all logic to pull something together, I don't think you have a good analogy that works, a good way to visualize something, to bring to light something, because I'm just watching it being like, what? Why are there's all these people under the ground that nobody found throughout all these years and only one of them escaped? And there's what? And if I'm spending the whole time doing that, I'm not thinking about your symbolism and your messaging. I'm thinking about how your movie makes absolutely no sense. And that's so frustrating. Because that's the note that I leave this movie on every single time. For 2 acts, I'm like, wow, this is really good. Phenomenal performances, edge of my seat thrills, entertainment. It's still funny while being frightening at the same time. And then it just goes off the rails when it tries to make its big, important statement. So for me, having rewatched it now just a few days ago, I felt the exact same way. If anything, I liked the great parts even more. And that's why it disappointed me even more when it got to the third act. And once again, the movie just made absolutely no sense to me. Real quick before I give you my top 2, remember to join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of his films. Also, if you enjoy these director rankings, I've done a ton of them in the past. Tarantino, Nolan, David Fincher, and a whole lot more. You can check them out right up here in this playlist when this video is over with. Our runner-up, Nope. Jordan Peele's kind of homage to throwback classic blockbusters like Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, even Signs, where they're thrilling, they're exciting, they're entertaining, but they're not, it's not a modern day blockbuster in the sense of involving a big gigantic CGI army. No, it's good old-fashioned thrills, and it does of course have a bunch of spectacle when you get to the third act. Speaking of all those inspirations, it also borrows from movies like Tremors as well, and this movie was inspired by a bunch of my favorite movies, in which case it touches on a bunch of stuff that I really enjoy. Generally speaking, I also enjoy UFO films. So a movie about UFOs and what exactly is going on at this house, that is always right up my alley. Another thing that worked about this movie is you got, once again, a great set of characters. Jordan Peele is great at creating people that feel real, but are still entertaining. And having these ensembles with fun dynamics, casting to perfection, with balanced out casts, with each person playing a different role and not feeling like they all have the same sense of humor, but being funny in different ways and bringing entertainment, elevating the story, all in their own unique ways as actors, as well as with the writing, doing something distinct, unique, interesting with the story. Another thing in here, Jordan Peele is a master at creating suspense and an atmosphere that's unsettling, where you don't know exactly what's going on, where someone just walking into their field, walking out to check on their horses, you know something's not quite right. You know something's going to happen. You know something's up. And so you're just at the edge of your seat. And it's even more so when the crazy, wild stuff starts happening later on in the movie. Now, when it comes to more the thematic richness and the symbolism, I think this one does a better job than Us, but it has some of the similar problems of trying to tackle too many things all at once. Like when it's just tackling this idea of the way that the entertainment industry feeds peoples to the viewers that just kind of chew them up and spit them out. And it's kind of a cruel cycle that's not really healthy for anyone. The way that we treat celebrities, the way that we treat trauma, when it's just focused in kind of that one idea, I think it actually manages to do something with the metaphor, the symbolism that works pretty well. But it throws too many layers into it, too many other things where we're looking at this child star and a chimpanzee that went crazy, and there's someone showing up at that guy's show that is deformed, and there's all these other layers to the metaphor that I don't know that they all fit quite right into it. And as you move into the third act with the movie and this idea of don't look up, don't look at it, when it starts to kind of communicate all those specific things, I don't know that you kind of cheat some of the rules and the logic. Like, how does this exactly work? I know why you're saying it, tied to your thematic richness and your allegories. I know why it matters in that sense. I don't know that it fully makes sense on a plot level in light of everything that's taken place before. So did a lot of things I really loved when it leaned into being a straightforward UFO film. I enjoyed it more, and some of the symbolism, metaphors and stuff worked for me. Some of them felt a little bit too forced and like they were stacked a bit too much on top of each other. But coming in first place is Get Out, Jordan Peele's directorial debut that kind of came out of nowhere and shocked everyone with just how good it was. He had well established himself as being really, really, really funny, and that's what his brand was. That's what he was known for. And then he makes a movie, and the first trailers look like it have some humor in there, but it's clearly like a horror thriller with maybe some messaging to it. And then he absolutely pulled it off and directed a movie that from beginning to end has this unsettling atmosphere that makes you feel uneasy. You always know something's not quite right with everything that's going on, but at the same time, it manages to be really funny and have good jokes all throughout the film that feel like normal people talking to each other, and it never undercuts the tension in an inappropriate way. And then as it goes further and further, it becomes more clear exactly what he's trying to communicate. And this is Jordan Peele at his best, where he's able to seamlessly intertwine plot and themes, where the story itself communicates a plot that makes sense and is intriguing and engaging on its own terms, but it also seamlessly communicates the ideas that he's exploring about the superficial token treatment of Black people, and in a way that is so interesting and insightful while never having to undercut the plot to do it. While never having to cheat to get there. It's entertaining, it's thrilling, it's laugh out loud at certain points in time, but it's always making you think. Each moment has you go, oh yeah, huh, oh that's itch, oh yeah, huh, yeah, that is weird the way that people behave like that. You're thinking, exploring ideas while always being entertained and never being pulled out of it because of the big gigantic gaps in the logic. Of course, the other great thing in here is the casting, where you have multiple different people that this was the first movie where I saw them. Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield. This is the first movie where I saw them, and they've gone on obviously to be in Oscar-nominated films, be celebrated on their own terms. They've been in blockbusters, and this was kind of the start of all of it, where I don't know if Jordan Peele was the person that discovered them, but you just have a great, great cast here. All of them just, knocking it out of their park, coming off like real people in this fantastical situation. They're interesting. They're funny. The movie itself is tense. It has a great atmosphere. As always, he's able to balance the humor, the tension, the thrills. And this is the movie where I think he did the best job of merging this story idea and the ideas he wanted to communicate in a way where they went together smoothly, properly. And so for me, this was easily his best film up to this point in time. So it comes in at number 1. If you enjoyed this video and want more like it, remember I've got a playlist right over there with more director rankings. And if you're interested in delicious, nutritious meals delivered right to your door with fresh food, head to go.factor75.com/SeanChandler120. Use promo code SeanChandler120 to get $120 off your order. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much. Bye-bye.